This week our heroes battle murder hornets, Star Wars vs. Cinco De Mayo, and is Nick Cage the new Joe Exotic? All this and more on this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. Episode 69, dude. Welcome to this week's episode. No, you killed me. Were you singing a song during the time we're supposed to be podcasting?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. We're good for your ears. I'm Dan, and you can find me everywhere at RFS Dan.
I'm Jess, and you can find me everywhere at Gone to the Snow Dogs and Snow Dogs vlogs.
Oh my gosh. Get it together, girl. Hey, so check it out. It's the beginning of May. It's gonna be May. Whoever came up with
you were gonna do that.
whoever came up with that meme's the best. We have the best trivia ever Facebook group, and one of the questions, it hasn't posted yet for this week, is how many, if is there 31 days in May or something like that. In the background, I did put Justin Timberlake back there. Hopefully the cool kids will know what I'm talking about. Well, actually, if you know who he is, then you are probably not a kid anymore.
Oh my gosh.
But May,
that's hilarious.
May's a big month. You know, right now we're smack on May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Which I wanted to talk about Cinco de Mayo, but part of me is like, what is Cinco de Mayo really? Like, what is Cinco de Mayo about? So I Googled it, and Cinco de Mayo is also called the anniversary of the Battle of Puebla. A holiday is celebrated in parts of Mexico and the United States, whoop whoop, that's us, in honor of a military victory in 1862 over the French forces of Napoleon the Third. I'd be so mad if I was the third or the fourth of something. That's why I made sure Blake had his own name. I don't want it to be Blake 2. It's
right,
like, look, it's
Blake
Blake.
the second.
It's Blake the second. So now that we got the facts out of the way, Cinco de Mayo is great.
Yeah, I'm after this, I'm definitely ordering some Mexican food.
You guys have good Mexican food out there?
Yeah, and actually we have 2 Mexican restaurants in this little tiny town, believe it or not. We went for a really long time with none, and then we had one, and then it closed because it wasn't very good. And then we had another one, and it closed because it wasn't very good. And then we had a place that was called, before we had a Taco Bell, we had a place called Taco Time, and it wasn't very good, and it closed.
So Taco Bell is not one of the 2 taco places in your town?
No.
You don't count that as tacos?
I mean, it's Taco Bell. It's fast food.
Yeah, but Taco Bell is just like its own entity.
Yeah. No, we have, what is it, Pompeos and Mangoes.
Okay, right. Because I'm sure nobody else in the history of the world's ever been like, wow, this authentic Mexican taco tastes like a real chalupa from Taco Bell.
Right?
So I guess not. Is margaritas going to be served tonight? You don't drink margaritas, do you?
Sometimes. It depends. Usually game night when we make them here. I don't think I've ever ordered one at a restaurant before, ever. Oh,
they're fun.
It depends. It depends. Actually, I think we have tequila and all kinds of stuff downstairs, so it depends.
Margaritas make me really, really chatty. Yeah, so today's Cinco de Mayo. I don't know what I'm going to do for it because, we're sitting here on lockdown, but I do know that the taco truck's going to be across the street tonight, so...
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go... Problem solved. Yeah, so I'll probably go over there and do that. There's other things that are happening, too. Right now, May the 5th is Revenge of the 5th, because it's Star Wars month.
Yep.
Yesterday was May the 4th be with you.
Did you see my TikTok?
Yes, I did see your TikTok. It was really, really cute.
My little Star Wars TikTok, that was pretty fun. I
Yes.
put Memphis in my black hoodie. I'm like, we gotta do a Star Wars TikTok on May the 4th.
Yeah, that was very cute. I think I said the cute is strong with this one. I think that was my comment on there.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
That was what it was.
I know you get a lot of comments on there. So yes, Star Wars month, which that should be good for Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, they released what is it, The Force Awakens?
The Rise of the Skywalker, I think is the new one. Rise of Skywalker.
That's it. I did the same thing yesterday. I said the same thing to Jamie. I'm like, they released The Force Awakens, and he looked at me and I'm like, no, the other one.
Yeah, he wasn't surprised by it at all. That's a lot of movies. They're a couple hours each. There's 9 of them, not including if you want to have any of the spin-off shows.
Right.
I've seen people marathon on them. There was some Geek Nerd channel. I think that Joel the Geek was posting that they were going through a lot of Star Wars stuff yesterday on one of the, I think it was like an Emerald City website or something like that. I noticed, because do you remember, I don't know if they did this for Star Wars, but they would do this for like the Avengers and stuff, where they'd have like 24 hours at your movie theater. You'd pay like $35 and they would start from Iron Man and they worked through all the Marvel movies until they caught you up, and it was like 24 hours of sitting.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I could handle that. That kind of sounds fun. Are you allowed to sleep in there?
I mean, I would assume so.
I mean,
what are they going to do, throw you out?
Right, but you can't sit down that long. There's been cases of people that have fallen asleep on the toilet and they've lost movement in their legs from the circulation being cut off. I don't know if it was permanently or not.
Probably not.
Oh my gosh! You imagine happening to you, and you'd have to army crawl out into the living room to have Jamie help me! Somebody wipe me! Somebody wipe me! I would be so sad. They're like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'd have to make up a story. I'd be like, you don't understand what's wrong with my legs. It was the bathroom. It was the bathroom. So anyway, so it's Star Wars May the 4th, which a lot of new Star Wars things have been announced. They announced that there's going to be another new movie coming out. Of course.
Which, who has, I mean, that's not a surprise to anybody. Like, I had a couple people that were like, oh, I thought there wasn't going to be any more. I'm like, that's not what they said.
Well, no,
they
they've
didn't say there wasn't
closed
going to be any more.
Yeah, they've closed that chapter.
Right.
People, not people you at home, but people, you got to understand, Disney have spent a lot of money on those Star Wars movies, and they didn't all deliver like they thought they were. Solo, PU, it went through like 3 directors.
I still haven't watched Solo.
It's okay, but it's just an explaining thing. Like, hey, do you want to know where he got his blaster gun at? Watch Solo. Do you want to know why he's in like a suit like that with his little vest? Watch Solo. Do you want to see how Chewbacca got his life debt? Watch Solo. Do you want to see how he got his name? Watch Solo. It was just this big fan service thing that Ron Howard was able to step in, a little Opie. He was able to step in and like make it better, but they've just had so many directorial problems with these spin-off movies. Even Boba Fett was supposed to be a spin-off movie before somebody was smart enough to be like, we can't trash him as well. But I just, it's hard because Harrison Ford is such a character that you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I was really surprised when that was one of the spin-off movies that they decided to make. But, I mean, like you said, it's Disney, and they spent a lot of money, and they really, really, really need to put the work into it to make their money back. But I think that you have the hardcore Star Wars fans, and then you have the people that hate Disney.
Yeah, which is really weird because all they're trying to do is good things. I don't care about what they're buying and stuff like that.
Right.
Because the movies are good. The movies are good in themselves. Like the CG is good. I'm fine. I'm entertained. Like I said, Solo was boring, but I loved Rogue One. Rogue One was so good. Rogue One was so good because they do the things that I love. I don't like actors in movies. Do not have snakes on the plane. Samuel Jackson playing Mace Windu. Like I don't want to see who you are. I just want to enjoy the story. So in Rogue One, there wasn't very many popular people that were in there.
Right.
I think
most of them were unknown.
Yeah, I think Lawrence Fishburne was in there. But so I really enjoyed that story in that movie. And I wasn't a fan of the middle of the trilogy movies. What is it? It's The Force Awakens, the Something Happened, and then Rise of Skywalker.
Jedi.
The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was a hard watch. That was a hard watch. They should have just had the same director. JJ should have just directed all 3 of them.
Yes.
And they should have been done. I think that Disney was getting a little cocky and a little too cute with trying to be like, this guy's gonna do it, and then this guy's gonna do it, and then we're gonna just have like this big, huge all-star team. And sometimes that doesn't always work.
Well, and that there's all these directors that are probably like, oh my gosh, it's the Star Wars, and we get this chance to do this. So I'm sure they were all waiting in line to be able to do it until they found out that, they all have different ideas and different ways to do it. So when you start off with one person and then you go to the next person, they don't see the same story. So it's obviously not going to work. Right.
And it's not like they get creative freedom. So let me see if I get his name right. Taika Waititi. He directed other movies. I know he's a really popular director. I just butchered that. Man, I'm staring at the screen too. So he's gonna go ahead and try his hat at directing a Star Wars movie, that's what they need because they had Weiss and Benioff. This is why my Game of Thrones was cut short. This is why they didn't care anymore. This is why they just ruined my favorite show of all time. So Weiss and Benioff could get to the new Star Wars trilogy. They've quit. They quit because of the creative freedom or lack of creative freedom that they were getting on there because there's not their visions. Disney's vision is Disney's vision. You can come here and just be a name. You're pretty much just going to be a name.
Yeah. They pretty much have the story written and you just have to do what they say.
Yeah. So I was really sad. They also didn't like the toxic fandom because Weiss and Benioff, according to them, they during Game of Thrones, they didn't listen to anything. They did not read feedback. They did not go on the Twitters. They did not go on the Instagrams. They did not read fan fiction. They did not do anything. They did what they wanted to do with earplugs in. They didn't take any advice. Nobody co-directed or nothing. It was just them two. So they didn't want to deal with all the negativity or all the backlash and stuff that comes when you create something. Because every time you create something, it makes somebody mad.
Right.
You know, I get it. I've done the same thing too. So I was just so disappointed that they rushed through Game of Thrones so they could hurry up and get to their 3-picture deal that they had for Star Wars, only for them to back out of it. So I'm pretty salty about that. I'm pretty salty. So new Star Wars and another new thing, which I love, The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I do too. That's a very good series. Like, even, you know, my dad is a old school Star Wars fan, and even he liked The Mandalorian. So you know it's a win when you can win over like the original Star Wars fans.
Yes. And so that was all of like 6 or 8 episodes. Jon Favreau did it, which, man, that guy's responsible for so much. I love him. He's so underrated and so my favorite. He's responsible for the Marvel universe. He's responsible for making Mandalorian not a spin-off movie that was going to suck like Solo, but a series that was just way more watchable. So they announced that there's going to be another new series on Disney Plus.
Oh no.
Yes, so I'm excited because The Mandalorian got me sold. That's probably one of my favorite piece of IPs from Star Wars is the Mandalorian. So hopefully he has a part in that, which I did also see that there's like a 6 or 8 part documentary on the making of Mandalorian. It just came out on Disney Plus.
I did see that the other day as well. If you could have them make a spin-off on any of the characters, like an actual series on any of the characters from Star Wars, who would you want it to be? Like, what spin-off series story? Not a movie.
Honestly, I want to see 3PO.
That would be really interesting.
But, you know, we kind of watched him, you know, that's hard because we watched him be born. Before, he talked a little bit about, like, his master and stuff like that, which was really odd because he never referred to Anakin when he was talking to Anakin about it or Luke about it. But, you know, we did watch little Annie bring him to life. So I guess we kind of did watch him. But I felt like his story was meant to be something that was beyond episode 1 when he was sitting there in the junk department while Anakin was putting them together. But I would like to see, like, a 3PO and R2 true. Like, where did R2 come from? And, like, you know, I would like to see... I would like to see that. What about you?
It wouldn't work, but I've always wanted to see like a series done from the Ewoks.
Yes, like something on Endor.
Yeah, I just think it would be really neat, like a whole series on that planet and the Ewoks and those people. Like that's probably one of my favorite parts of the whole Star Wars everything, and I just always thought that would be really neat. And I know they made like a cartoon. I think there was like an Ewoks cartoon.
I totally watched the Ewoks cartoon.
I'm talking about more like what they did with Mandalorian, more like a spin-off series with that whole planet.
Because they are a tribe.
Yeah.
So there could be like intertribal battles and stuff like that, you know. But they're painted so cutesy though that I don't know how you could bring the drama. But that would be interesting.
I think it would be. It's just something that I always thought would be really neat. Like I would like to know more of a story about them.
Yes. Yeah, so
but again, I don't know if it would work because, you know, they're Muppets and they'd want to do all CG and then it would be expensive because like the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance cost so much money because they did use Muppets instead of CG for a lot of it. They actually created all that stuff, so it would be hard. It would be a hard thing for them to do. Right. It would be interesting.
I also would love for there to be some sort of satire spinoff show, kind of like The Office, called like the Death Star or something like that. It's just all the employees that work at the Death Star, and their like day-to-day life of clocking in, clocking out with their families, going home. Do they live on the Death Star? Are they just contractors? Like their day-to-day life of their struggles, and maybe like, oh, Vader's coming, and then they have to like do their work, and then they go back to like whatever like office drama that Jim and Pam are having. I would think that something like that could be done right and could be beautiful.
That would be very interesting.
I would like that over the droids. I would like that over the droid spinoff. But yes, just the inner workings of an employee for like the Death Star or the Trade Federation or something like that.
Make it like a little mini docuseries.
Yeah, you know, where Jim kind of looks over at the camera and stuff like that after like Tarkin says something foul to him or something like that, or you know the stormtroopers come in and do something stupid, or there's got to be an IT guy, right? I mean, somebody's hired for IT on the Death Star, right? You know,
oh my gosh, right?
Then you could go over to the construction crew as they're working on one of the wings on it and stuff. I think that would be awesome.
That would be a very interesting...
I think that would be great, and I think it could work, and it would just be called, I don't know, Death Star, the Office. I don't know.
Death Star, the Office.
Yes, it would. So, anyway, May the 4th be with you on May the 4th. Revenge of the 5th is on the 5th, and if you guys are into Star Wars, I really hope you guys follow Mark Hamill on Star Wars. That guy is the most amazing person ever. He plays Luke Skywalker, for those of you guys who don't know. but he's just the greatest person. He's so talented. And he's so funny, and his stuff's super witty. So I would follow him on Instagram. I don't know if you follow him or not. He always does.
I follow him on Instagram and Twitter.
He always writes great stuff on his trading cards. He's always writing stuff, and when he signs the trading cards, he'll write a little blurb like he's Luke. You know, there's a picture of him standing on the rock while he's looking at the two suns. He's like, yeah, it was hot that day. Like, he's always writing something really witty. He did the voice of the Joker in the animated series. I love him. So happy Star Wars Day. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Like I said, early May. It's like you get drunk and watch Star Wars off of margaritas and tacos.
And then tomorrow, the day this gets released, is Revenge of the 6th.
No, it's Revenge of the 5th. That's today.
Oh, is that today?
Yeah. There's got to be something for the 6th, though, right? there's got to be something for that. So more Star Wars stuff to come. I am not quite burnt out of it. I really love the first of the remakes, or not the remakes, but of this latest trilogy, The Rise of... No, it was called The Force Awakens. I loved it, but I did not really care as much about the last two movies. So I'm kind of excited for the page to turn and for them to be, have some new stuff come along.
For it to start all over again.
Yes. Speaking of starting all over again, do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
No, that was a show that like everybody told us we would like, and we watched a couple of episodes and just never really got into it.
Yeah, I think it's love or hate. I like Rick and Morty. I thought it was fun. Some episodes are better than others, but you know how it goes. You can't hit home runs all the time. So Rick and Morty started it back up again on Sunday, but I forgot to watch it because derp. And they actually have another series coming out called Solar Opposites that comes out this Friday, and it looks more like they're not jumping around from planet to planet, and it's a spin-off of like these aliens that are, I think, in high school and stuff like that. And I'm really curious about that show too, but I think you should give that a shot. Maybe that'll capture you a little bit better than Rick and Morty.
Right. It wasn't that we thought it was bad. I didn't think it was bad. We laughed. It just wasn't something where we were like, let's watch another episode. It just wasn't that show that really like grabbed our attention. Like, it was funny.
It was funny, yeah. Like I said, there's a handful of really good episodes. Pickle Rick, obviously, they hit a home run with that. And they started the season with Pickle Rick, and then none of the other episodes could touch it. It was pretty good. So if you guys are listening, Rick and Morty's back, and Solar Opposites, check it out. Blake brought it up to me the other day. I didn't even know that was happening, and that's coming out this week.
I love that name. I love the name Solar Opposites.
Solar Opposites?
Whoever came up with that is a genius.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I'm surprised that hasn't been used for anything else. But I think it's aliens that are in school or high school or something like that. So no doubt it'll be really good. 5 years ago today, Jess, you hit 98,000 subscribers on Gone to the Snow Dogs.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, what's crazy is because you're about to hit 1 million. You're really close to 1 million. Do you know what your number is lately?
Last I looked, it was like 924,000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we went up another 10 since last time we talked about this.
Yep.
So if you do the math, you were ramping up pretty quick. Because for a while there, I thought maybe we would never get to 1 million. I'm like, well, that's a long ways to go. But if we only go back 5 years and you're at 98K, that is great growth. Yeah.
And 5 years ago when I hit 98K, I'd been doing it for 5 years. So it took 5 years to hit almost 100, and in another 5 years, now I'm almost at 1 million.
Wow, that is awesome. What does that feel like?
I don't even know. I still don't even know. It doesn't feel real, and I know that sounds really silly and really cliche, like when you hear YouTubers say that it doesn't feel real, but it doesn't. It blows my mind that like that many people have clicked a little subscribe button on our videos, and like I think we're almost at 300 million video views. Like, that's ridiculous. 300 million people have I think it's like I think we're at 287 or 290 million, but we're close to 300 million. 300 million people have watched my dogs on the internet.
That's so cool.
That's insane. That's more than some movies have been watched.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I try. This sounds really silly, but it's one of those things that I try not to really, really, really think about, because I feel like if I focus on it too much, that's when it becomes pressure. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think about it, but I don't want to focus on it. I love watching the numbers, and I love watching it go up, and I'm really excited about the potential of the fact that we'll actually have a gold play button that says Gone to the Snow Dogs on it, which is just crazy. My cousin just got his silver play button. My cousin who runs
I saw that the other day.
Channel.
That made me so happy.
Yeah, I sent him a text message, and then I was talking to him. I'm like, isn't it the silliest thing? But it's so great. And he's like, I don't know why it makes me so happy. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, it's just it's a piece of metal with your name on it for something you've built. And, you know, I have 2 silver play buttons, and I always look at them and I go, we did that. Like,
yeah.
We did that. That's so crazy. So, I don't know. I'm excited, and according to my analytics, we should hit 950,000 in 2 months.
Well, I was thinking conservatively by the end of the year, I think you'll be at 1 million.
I'm hoping by the end of the year. I was hoping to hit it last year. I was hoping to hit 1 million before our 10-year anniversary, but that didn't happen. I was really hoping, but I don't think I marketed well and did a good push on it. So this year I'm kind of hoping secretly that it'll happen before the end of the year. If we keep growing at the rate we're growing right now, it will happen.
Dang,
so
how crazy. What a time to be a content creator, everybody.
Oh my gosh. I was watching some stuff the other day about how much more YouTube and everything that people are watching, and how I think I sent you the video where they're like, you know, now is the time.
Yes,
if you've ever wanted to be a content creator, now is the time, because people are consuming so much more content online right now, and people are home, so they have more time to do stuff because, you know, they're not going to work, you know, they're stuck at home. And this really is, I mean, if you guys were thinking about doing any of that stuff, just pick up the camera and do it.
Yeah, you own everything that it takes to do this right now. If you're listening to us, we've said this before, if you're listening to us, you own everything that it takes to either make a vlog, a video. I saw Katie was making videos.
Yeah, Katie's making videos again. Right? I saw that too.
Everybody's just making videos. Now's the time to create. Are you going to make a 1 million shirt? You have to make a 1 million shirt.
I'll probably make a 1 million shirt. I had a couple people say, what are you going to do when you hit 1 million?
Party.
And I'm like, you know, I definitely want to do the thing where hopefully it'll be nice. I either want it to be nice when it happens, or I want there to be snow. But I definitely want to get the gold balloons, the 1 million balloons, and have the 1000000, and put up balloons in the yard and take pictures of the dogs in front of the balloons.
We have to have a party. That's like partyable. Like, we have to have a party.
Oh yeah, we'll do something.
And I was thinking, you know how like everybody does it, where they have the counter on the screen.
Yeah.
Where does that counter come from?
Social
Blade. That's right. Sorry, Jason. Sorry, Jason. So it comes from Social Blade, but you know what? I just popped into my mind, because every time you see everybody with their counter, it always happens during like the correct time of the day. What if this started to happen at like 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning? Like, we need to make sure that it happens during like a time of the day where we all can watch.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. And then the other hard part becomes, you know, it's hard to know how fast it's going to happen. So, you know, you can plan a party, but is everybody going to be able to get here in time? Like, you're all the way across the country. A lot of my friends are all over the world. How many, you know, we're all over the country.
It's red-eye flights. It doesn't matter. It's like when, like...
Everybody's coming.
My water just broke. It's just like that. It's just like that. Here it comes. You can't stop it. Get on it. It's happening. It's how you can you shut down your channel for a minute? Like, could you like pause your channel?
Can we just stop for a second?
Just pause.
What was it? I don't remember if it was 250,000 or 300,000. Chris Erickson from Sushi and Runt would know, but they drove up here the night that happened, and we popped I think it was 250,000 if I'm correct. When I hit 250,000 on Gone to the Snow Dogs, and he brought a bottle of champagne, and we popped a cork in the dark in the backyard because it was dark out. We lost the cork. We were afraid the dogs were going to eat it. We ended up finding it. But they came up and we ordered food, and like we had a really good time. Like, just had a couple people over, and we hit and celebrated. I'm pretty sure it was 250,000. And it was just for fun. You know, we just did it for fun. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do something.
1 million just because of
something
dogs.
Amazing. I know, right?
Just because of dogs and hard work.
Yeah, like, everybody has dogs. Why does everybody like my dogs? I mean, granted, you can't see them right now, but they are snuggling right next to each other like they do with how many pictures do I send you guys all the time of, hey, look, the dogs are snuggling. Hey, look, the dog. Yep, they're doing it again, so.
I knew that you were heading to 1 million. We've talked about that before, but I didn't realize only 5 years ago you were at 98K. Yeah,
it was crazy. And that original post, you were around back then. You liked that original post.
I remember when we were handing out at VidCon one of the years. I don't remember how many years we've gone, but you hit 4, I think, 300 or 400. I think it was 400 one year.
Yep,
and that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's an even number, but 4 means nothing. Like 400 is not 5, it's not 1, it's not 9, it's, you know, so yeah, but I guess I had been around. Dang, I was around in the beginning. I was around before it was cool. Anyway, congratulations, Jess. That's a pretty dang big accomplishment.
Oh, thanks.
So hey, all you cool cats and kittens, Nicolas Cage is gonna play Joe Exotic in the new Tiger King movie. Is it a movie or a television show?
I didn't read the full article. I don't know if it was a movie or a made-for-TV thing, but I still... Why didn't they pick Joe Dirt?
That's who he wants to play him. That's
Yeah.
I guess that's a big thing when you're sitting in jail forever.
Right.
Because he's going to be in there forever, right?
22 years.
Oh, okay. So he's going to be in there for the rest of his life. No, long enough that if he does get out, nobody cares.
Right.
Because there's already so much backlash from this. You know, everybody loved it. It was great. And now, like, it's not cool if you liked it.
It seemed like there was the time when everybody was talking about it, and you either watched it or you didn't. And it was one of those things. You know, there were people that were like, I'm not watching it. I'm 100% not watching it. I would never watch something like that. And then a lot of people watched it. Everybody talked about it. And now it seems to be turning back the other way, where, like you said, if you watched it, nobody wants to admit that they watched it now. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yes.
Like, people are weird.
Yeah,
I watched it.
It's polarizing. It's polarizing. It's going to be a short series. It's going to be a TV show. Which, what are they going to do? Oh, I just saw a picture of Nick Cage. This is perfect. You know, and as you guys know in the podcast, Nick Cage and I don't see eye to eye. We don't see eye to eye at all.
Is it because he's taller than you?
Is he taller than me? I think I am a better actor than Nick Cage.
That was just funny.
Because we don't see eye to eye. Oh my God, Jess, everybody. I mean, come on, Con Air. He did like it's. Oh man. You know,
I like Nick Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds.
That was okay. It was like him and Angelina Jolie, and they stole cars.
Yeah.
You could have put anybody in there. You could have put a potato in there to have done the same thing. I'm looking at a picture of Nick Cage right now in a studded leather jacket with leopard print around his neck. But you know, he's older, but he does look like he could make a good Joe Exotic.
Yeah, I think I think he will. I think it's gonna happen.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be one of those things where there's a few shows being made right now. I know one of the other ladies from Saturday Night Live is going to play Carol Baskins in another show. So it reminds me of, like, do you remember when, like, Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco, this is a reach, there was like 2 or 3 made for TV movies from them.
Yes.
Same with Selena, and they all came out like within the same week too. It's like, yo, y'all couldn't have spread this out a little bit, because now I'm confused. I think
they need to capitalize on it while they can.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they need to, like, even TMZ came out with their own thing, and they're like, we're going to show you things that you didn't see in the series, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I watched it, and they did, you know, they did show stuff that wasn't necessarily in the series. But I think if they don't jump on this stuff and capitalize on it now, people just aren't going to care.
Yeah. I think the other show, Kate McKinnon's going to play Carol Baskins. I remember when they did the Amy Fisher thing. I think one of the movies, it was like Alyssa Milano from Who's the Boss fame played Amy Fisher, and then, like I said, like I think Selena, I think J-Lo played Selena in one of the movies, and but there was a few of them, and they all came at the same time, and it was so confusing.
Yeah, because you had to try to watch them all, and it was like, this is crazy. I did see a thing, an article that was talking about, you know, Tiger King season 2, and they're like, Tiger King season 2 cannot become Making a Murderer season 2. Here's all the mistakes that they can't make. Yes. And they're not wrong, you know, because everybody wanted a season 2 of Making a Murderer, and it just did not hold up.
It was a whammy. Nobody wanted to sit there and watch 4 or 5 episodes of a deposition of this poor kid that needed help sitting in a chair, and it wasn't even high res, and that was hard. They really should have just stopped with the first season of Making a Murderer.
Yeah, and they could have added like an update. They could have done like an hour and a half episode or an hour and a half, you know, series or something. It wouldn't even have had to been a series, just an update to that series. They didn't have to try to stretch it out and make it a whole nother series.
Yeah, like I kind of didn't mind how Joe McHale did the update on the Tiger King, where they just kind of like got everybody's perspective on what has happened afterwards.
I liked that.
But what are they gonna do? Why does there need to be a 6 or an 8-part series? Are they just gonna retell it in like dramatic format?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they going to embellish it? Is it going to be did you watch the series where it was, I don't remember, Nancy Kerrigan?
Oh, yeah, absolutely I did.
Yeah. Is it going to be like that? It's going to be like that made-for-TV series or made-for-TV movie, or the O.J. Simpson one. Did you watch that one?
That was amazing. The O.J. Simpson was
so
amazing.
Good.
Yes.
But
yeah,
we all knew that
awesome.
story, and the difference, I think, between like even the Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan, you know, I, Tanya was the name of it.
Yes, I watched I, Tanya. I liked it.
Yeah, and even like that and the OJ stuff, Tonya Harding happened how many years ago? O.J. Simpson happened how many years ago? And now
Yes.
they're coming out with these series. So now your interest in them was like, I remember that. I want to watch more of this. Where the Tiger King stuff all just happened. So no matter what they do, they're just retelling a story you already heard. Where if they would wait a couple years and then bring it back around, I think in a couple years from now, people would still want to watch it.
Oh yeah, give it 10 years,
Yeah.
but they just need a cash cow, which is the wrong animal, but they just need it to be a cash. I thought was good. I think Margot
Tanya was
Robbie played in
very
that.
good.
I liked the OJ's telling of the OJ story. I think Cuba
Yes.
Gooding Jr. was in that.
Yeah.
The lady that played Linda. No. Who was the lawyer?
Marsha Clark.
Marsha Clark. That was so good. I liked it. I thought it was good. I did.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it had been long enough that I was like, I remember that. Or when they'd show some of the real footage, I was like,
Yep.
I remember being in school when that was happening and stuff like that. So maybe it just needs to be a little bit of more time. But I would love to. Yeah, I'm in for Nicolas Cage to do it. Who would you play?
Who would I play?
Yeah, who would you play if you were cast in that movie? Who would you want to play?
I want to play the girl without an arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'd want to be one of the tigers.
The tigers.
Well, according to my latest Instagram post, I could play Joe Tiger or Joe Exotic. I could play him.
You could. You definitely could.
Oh wow! Now I'm excited because if they're gonna cast Nicolas Cage, that means they're gonna have other actors. Like Brendan Fraser's gonna have to be in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I just don't know what they're gonna do because the stories are so fresh in our head.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I'm sure I'll watch it. I'm sure I will get suckered into watching it, and I will watch it. But But you could tell a story so many different ways, and it can still be interesting. But like I said, I still think there needs to be time. Jamie and I watched Highwaymen on Netflix, and I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a story. It's Bonnie and Clyde, but it's not Bonnie and Clyde. Every Bonnie and Clyde story or movie I've ever seen has been about Bonnie and Clyde. This was actually about the Texas Rangers that tracked down Bonnie and Clyde and actually were able to kill them. Like, it's told from that perspective. So it's
okay.
So Bonnie and Clyde aren't the focus. And as much as I thought I had seen, every single thing to see out there about Bonnie and Clyde, man, we watched that 2-hour and 20-minute movie and neither of us touched our phones. And at the end of it, we both went, wow, why did it take us so long to watch that? But so I guess, there could be a different angle that they're going about to tell it. I don't know.
There's a Ryan Murphy and Rob Lowe take on the story that's in early stages of production. And the ID channel, they do a lot of true crime and murder stuff.
Yep.
They're working. That one will be good because that one will be more
Yes.
factual. ID is working on a true crime follow-up called Investigating the Strange World of Joe Exotic that promises to dive deeper into the case.
Well, of course. Everyone's going to promise to go deeper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always the promise. So, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm a little burnt out on the other end of it. Like, I don't know if I could sit there and watch it again.
I don't know. I really don't. No, I'll watch it. I'm sure I'll watch it.
Well, Jess, let's take this into a happier topic. Let's go into a story that's going to be uplifting and hit home for everybody.
Uh-oh.
Murder Hornets are now in the U.S.A. Oh my gosh, hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your honey. Hide the bees. Oh my gosh, hide the bees. Hide the bees. Won't somebody think of the bee children?
Oh my gosh.
Murder Hornets, which the correct name is Asian giant hornets. They're in Japan and in Asia. They're from Asia.
Right.
Have now been spotted in Washington. They don't know how they got here. Hello? Did you ask them if their arms were tired? Because I'm sure they probably flew here. Hello, people. That's how you do it. But murder hornets are invading the United States. What do we need next? Have you seen anything on this yet?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hornets and bees to start with. Like, I'm the person that doesn't like it when a bee lands near me because I'm always afraid I'm going to get stung. And that's probably because, like, my dad's allergic to bees, and I've seen people that get stung by bees are allergic, and I don't know. So I always
have you ever been stung by a bee?
I have, and I do not react like my dad does. So I do have a pretty bad reaction, but it's not like a go to the hospital reaction. But that doesn't mean that, like, I had another friend of mine who had been stung by bees many, many times, and then he was probably in his early 60s, got stung by a couple of bees, not that many, and went into anaphylactic shock, and they had to be rushed to the hospital, and thankfully they were able to hit him with the EpiPen and stuff. But he had been stung by bees many times throughout his life and had minor reactions. So that's kind of a scary thought.
That is crazy. I miss what you said. Your dad doesn't like getting stung by bees?
My dad's allergic to bees. I don't remember where we were out in the woods one time, and he had both my sister and I. And he set my sister down on top of this wooden thing, and all these bees came out from underneath it. And I just remember all of us running to the van. And my thought was, the bees are going to kill my dad.
Oh my gosh. Did he like kick you guys and shove you out of the way so he could be first into the van?
Yep, pretty much.
Oh my gosh. So these things have showed up in Washington State, which that's on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the heck they're coming from. They don't know how they got here. They're about 2 inches in length. I'm looking at a picture of one on the screen on somebody's shirt. It looks like a brooch. It's huge. They're about 5 times bigger than the bees.
Oh, God.
Their stings go through the beekeeper suits.
They almost look fake. They almost look like the pictures of them I've seen almost look like a little figurine you would set on your shelf.
A little bit. They're really super neat. What I really like about the wasps and those like hornety things is I love how rad they're shaped. They are so aerodynamic. Right. They have like different segments. They have like the thorax, oh no, Dan, I've done it again. Thorax, thesaurus.
They have a thesaurus they hold in their little paws. Oh wait,
no.
Paws.
Oh no. They have different segments. Oh, why did I say that? They have different segments to them. I've never been stung by a bee.
Really? Never?
No, and we had bees in our house the other day. What if those were murder hornets in my house? Do you remember the bee video? It's on the Patreon. Do you remember the bee video I sent you?
Those were like regular bees. Though.
Yeah, but okay, here's the thing. There was 4 of them, right? That's enough to form Voltron. Maybe they combine themselves to form a killer super wasp.
Maybe, but I doubt it.
I did not find where any of those other bees came from. All 4 of them were in the house. I searched high and low, near and far, here and there. I did not find any bees. I was being careful. There was no bees. These murder hornets, we'll call them.
Right.
They show up, and they don't like bees either. They're like, you guys are weak-willed. And so there was a picture I saw where they decapitated all the bees. There was like hundreds of bees laying there, and they're just like, why are they doing that?
Because they eat their insides.
Oh, for the honey.
They eat their insides for the proteins.
Wow, they're amazing. I was watching some videos as I was doing research on this topic because now I'm fascinated, and I see everybody's been talking about them on Facebook lately.
Right.
I watched. They were taking out huge grasshoppers. They were taking out spiders.
No, thank you.
You do not have to be allergic to them to be killed by them.
Yeah, I did see that if you got stung like multiple times, it could kill people. It could kill you.
Yeah, so in Japan, about 50 people per year die from these things.
Well, that's not, like, ridiculous. Because there's probably at least that many people that die a year from regular bees in the United States.
But what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you not running away? Are you not swishing at them? Like, what's happening?
Well, you're not supposed to swish at them. If you swish at them, that usually makes them angry. But then there's, like, wasps that, they don't care. Wasps are just angry all the time. So, I don't know, if you're walking through the woods and you accidentally step on a nest we actually, when we were putting the fence into this house, we uncovered ground bees and that was on accident, but they were definitely not happy that we were here digging in their nest. So, sometimes you're just doing stuff and all of a sudden you find them.
Right. Do you remember in school you'd play on the playground and you'd be in the dirt? Do you remember those little bee things that would fly around and they would always dig in the dirt and stuff like that? We had those out here in California a lot. I don't know if they were really bees, but they kind of look like bees and they'd always try to like bury themselves in the sand.
We have ground bees that are in our backyard. And
what are those, like lazy millennial bees?
Maybe, I don't know. They dig holes in the ground and they live in the ground and Kira thinks they're delicious.
I mean, there's a guy holding one and they're like... They look so big. Oh my gosh. Have you seen the pictures when the animals get bit by the bees and they come in with their cute puffy faces?
Yeah, I have a picture of Memphis like that.
Oh my gosh. Please send me that.
I'll have to find it. I think I did a video on it after it happened because she was...
Okay, good. We'll link that video.
She used to be a puppy at one time too, and she used to eat bees as well. And then she ate a bee, and then her whole face swelled up.
What do you do if you find an Asian hornet? Please use the Asian Hornet Watch app on your phone to send a picture and location of the GPS in the app. Oh my gosh, there's an Asian Hornet Watch app?
Somebody said they found one in Kentucky today. I don't know if it's true, but... Somebody said they found one in Kentucky today, so...
It's on the App Store. It has 3 stars.
I believe the scary thing about them is, like, what everybody's saying is if they come in and start wiping out our honeybee population, then that makes all of our stuff that we grow it makes it harder for stuff to grow.
Oh, yeah. I'm amazed on how rad they look. They look so efficient.
Well, yeah. That's why they got the name murder hornets, because they're the best.
I was watching a video of one where a guy put what do they like? They like nectar or something on his finger, and one was crawling around on there. It was taking up 2 knuckles. It was a big thing.
They're huge.
Yeah, I just don't know how you let yourself get bit by that. But I learned by watching what was it, My Girl? With Anna Klimsky and McCluckin Kapluckin.
Yep.
He got tore up by the bees.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You have a shirt and stuff. Start declothing and whipping your thing around. Like you're rooting for the home team.
I can definitely tell you've never been stung.
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not. A lot of my bike friends at the bike shop would. Cheryl would come in. I'm like, hey, what's that right there? On the top of your chest. And she's like, I got stung by a bee while I was riding my bike. I'm like, how do you let that happen? And they're so flawed. I don't know about the Asian hornets, but the bees are so flawed. There's nothing worse than being able to have one bullet in your gun. And then you die.
Jamie got stung in the face.
Really?
Yep, opening the mailbox. We came home to the house and we opened a mailbox and there was a
What, did it come shooting out butt first? Surprise! Whack!
Pretty much. Came right out at him and got him right in the face.
It's not like they can throw their barbs at you.
Yeah, it doesn't take
where's
long.
Jamie, come on, bro. Come on. Yeah, so I have never been. I could be allergic. I'm probably not.
Right.
I don't want to test it, but I would let a bee bite me, but then the bee dies. And now we have a connection. A part of him's always going to be a part of me, right?
Yeah, you're going to get bee power.
Wow, so stay away from these. If you guys at home live in Washington, let me know. Could you go find one for me, please?
Joel, can you find us some murder hornets, please?
They're not. Wait, Washington is. They're in Seattle. They're Seattle, Washington State. All right, hold on. Shoot. Oh my gosh, Dan. Okay, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is on the East Coast.
Yes.
But that's not Washington.
No.
But it's Washington, D.C.
Does the article say Washington, D.C., or does it say Washington in the Pacific Northwest?
It says Washington. Okay, wait, I'm in the north. I'm in west, but I'm not north.
Right.
Am I southwest?
Pacific Northwest.
Oh, so they are over here. Okay, that makes it better. So they probably came in a container.
They probably did come in a container. That's most likely what happened.
Up there is where the big port is. That's where all the containers from the boats land and stuff like that. Okay. Not from the other side of the country where all the politicians are.
No, that's Washington, D.C.
Okay. See, that's not my fault. You all got to name. There's plenty of words in the English vocabulary. You all got to name yourself something else.
I thought it said in the article that it was Pacific Northwest.
It said Washington State. It said U.S., Canada, and Washington State.
Right.
Di and Joel, if you see one, could you grab it for me, please?
But carefully.
I need to interview it. So we'll see what happens. They're worried about them, they're worried about those things spreading everywhere.
Yeah, I guess they were saying that the rate that they reproduce in their population can spread really fast.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because that's what we need.
Right. That's exactly what we need. 2020. Yes. Can we get a restart, please?
Yes. Pretty soon they're gonna be susceptible to corona, and they're gonna have corona on their barbs, and it's just gonna be out of control. It's a really bad Sharknado. I remember one time 7-8 years ago, I looked out our window and we had rose bushes. Oh my gosh, I hate rose bushes so much. We had rose bushes. And I looked out there, and there was thousands of bees on this rose bush. And apparently it had been going around our neighborhood because they've been following the queen around.
Oh.
Because that's a thing. Yeah, and they were so crazy. I was able to watch them through the window. All the neighborhood was around. They had to call somebody, I guess. Eventually they all flew off. But there was just... I want to say millions, but there's not. But there was millions of bees outside my window, and it was the coolest thing. I think they're fascinating. I really like it. I don't want to be a beekeeper, but I think all that stuff's really cool, and I do love honey.
I wish you would have been here last year when my brother had the bees in his wall at his house. You would have been fascinated.
His wall?
Yeah, you would have been fascinated to put the stethoscope up onto the wall and listen.
And listen to them talking. They're like, hey man, what are we doing today? I don't know, man. Head down. The queen's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying in the wall, but that would be super cool. How do they get in there? See, that's what I'm worried about. Where did all those bees come from that are outside my house? Why was there 4 in my house?
Yeah, I don't know. John Carl kind of started off with the same thing that you had. There was a bee or two that showed up in his house, and then they would wake up in the morning and there was more bees, and then there was more bees, and then he's every day we're waking up with bees, and then it started to get worse, and then they realized hey, so he started checking around the outside of his house and found out where they were getting in. So he plugged the hole where they were getting in, only to find out that they'd made a nest inside the wall.
Here's what I'm concerned about. There's an attic here, but you can't get to it. It's like, because you know how like the house is flat, then there's a triangle that makes the roof?
Yep. You
can't get in that crawl space at all. Like, I know yours, you can.
Right.
You have like that old traditional one, right? Where you pull it down and the ladder comes out?
Yep. We have a full attic.
I don't have that at all. The only way you can get into there is there's this little vent that used to exist. Now that they redid the kitchen in my house, and yes, my house is all done, there was this vent that went from the stove top where it pipes out the heat.
Right.
And when they pulled that out, there's a little area, like a little 4-inch gap. And if I stuck a camera in there, you could see into the hole, which would be the attic of my house.
Right.
I want to say that they were in there and they came out of there. And at some point, I think they're buzzing around up in there. But there's nothing I could do about it.
That would be very, yeah, that's exactly where they could actually be.
Please send me a murder bee. Anybody, if you guys catch one of those murder wasps, I need to eradicate these bees that are in my house. I'll be careful.
Oh my gosh. So, speaking about really beautiful creatures, Jamie and I found this show on Hulu, and it's called Aerial America.
Ooh, I have not heard of this. This is the first I've heard of it. I'm Googling it.
I was specifically supposed to tell you, Jamie reminded me to tell you, you need to watch the Aerial America episode on Michigan. If you don't watch any other ones, watch the one on Michigan.
Oh, it looks like they're per state: California, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, Oregon, Michigan. When I type in Aerial American, okay.
Yep.
So what is it?
It's on Hulu, and it's a series on Hulu called Aerial America, and they go around with, I don't know if it was a drone or an airplane or a helicopter, but they go from state to state and they show you aerial views, but then they talk about the histories of the state. Like in Michigan, they talk about Henry Ford, and they talk about, Greenfield Village, and they talk about the iron. And the one we watched last night was Colorado. We watched Colorado last night. And they talk about, the mountains and the Rocky Mountains and the finding of all these different metals and how these different cities were formed. And I don't know why, but when the first one started, I'm like, I feel like this is something I would be watching in school, and I feel like this is going to be really, really educational. And then by the time I had that thought, it was over, and I'm like, I don't know why this was such a cool series, but I really, really liked it. It's like a mini documentary on every state, and you get to see everything from the sky.
Oh, okay. I'm Googling it right here. Boy, is it beautiful.
Yes.
And that's what I love. And it's done through the Smithsonian Channel. And that's what I love about this stuff is they will go and get the nice cameras to capture this.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh, wow. This is great. Okay,
they had the Mackinac Bridge, and they filmed it on a day when the Labor Day Bridge Walk was happening, so you saw all the people walking across the bridge. There's a point where, I don't know how we didn't know this was happening, but there's a point where they're flying over the coast of Michigan, and they're talking about how Michigan has the largest freshwater coastline, and as they're flying over, I'm like, that's Rockport. That's 10 miles from here. I saw a few things from our area, a couple of the lighthouses from our area, but they flew over the Rockport State Park, and I'm like, I know where that is. We've been there. And it was, the one for Michigan was really, 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 really cool. And then we watched the one on Nevada. The one on Nevada, it's educational and informational, but it's just so visually stunning.
That's what I love.
Even when they're showing the cities, even when they're showing Detroit, and they're talking about the Fisher Building and how the building was built in the 1930s, and it was built to be the tallest, most beautiful building in Detroit with gold leaf peaks. And you're looking at this building and you're like, wow. Seeing it from that angle, it's just, I don't know. It's really, really interesting. We've been trying to watch one every night. And apparently we'll make it through all 50.
Where do I find this at?
On Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Okay. It's on the SmithsonianChannel.com, but okay, Hulu's.
Yeah, Hulu is where we found it, and if you just search Aerial America, and you can watch it from start to finish or whatever, but oh my gosh, if you watch any of it, watch the one on Michigan, because it was really good.
What are they showing? Because look, one time when I was at your house, or maybe was I I don't know if I was at your house or not, we were hanging out one night, and we were playing this Aerial America game, you and I, at your state. And when we were using Google Maps to fly over your state, one thing stuck out to me, and I wonder if they covered this in the show. And it was the guy that planted all those trees, big, huge, full trees, in the shape of a marijuana leaf.
Yep.
And there's hundreds of trees there, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's probably maybe 20 miles from our house. 20 or 30 miles, not even.
And what kind of trees are they?
I think they're pine trees.
How tall?
Oh, they're pretty tall now.
Stories tall.
Yeah.
And you had to plant hundreds of them. So when you're on the Google Maps, and how do you map that out? What free program?
You got to think of how long ago that was planted. You know what I mean? Like how long ago they were planted like that. I actually saw a TikTok the other day where people were doing that, zooming in on Google Maps and looking at random things that were found. And they did one on Michigan, and I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, they're gonna find the pot leaf. But they found instead there's an old CCC camp where they had made Michigan and like made little pools around it, and from the sky it looks like a little mini Michigan with inside Michigan. That's what they actually
That's so
showed.
Crazy. I just don't know how you map that out.
I don't know.
I don't. Same with when the people make the crop circles. I'm like, you don't have a drone. Like drones weren't around then.
Right.
Ladders aren't that tall. How do you get up there to make something that massive? It is massive, people.
Yeah,
it is really, really, really massive. I've had the Google Maps and I've had the Apple Maps drive by, and I've parked my car and ran out to the street, and like I think I would like walk like an Egyptian. I would pose like that. So I'm curious to see when they finally update that map, that if I show up on there. I saw one just yesterday on TikTok where people found some sort of Sonic the Hedgehog icon at the side of the road and stuff like that. Or I see people pretend to like have a knife and they were like chasing after somebody else and stuff, and people do all kinds of zany stuff on the Google Maps.
Yeah, I've seen the Google Map car here in Alpena. We watched it drive by the deli a couple times. I think it was last year, maybe the year before.
Do you get excited?
Yeah, it's kind of neat because a lot of the roads in our town still aren't mapped out. Like, you can't do like street view from them.
Oh, not me. You can totally see in my window.
Right.
You can go, if you guys know where I live, you guys can go and just pretty much see what I was doing that day.
You're waving. You're like, hey, it's me.
I am. I was so stoked. I'm like, that's so crazy. One time there was like 6 or 7 cars at the gas station right up at the corner, and they were fueling up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, pick me, like and subscribe.
I want to be on the maps.
So I'm on
the map.
I'm on the SmithsonianChannel.com, and they're promoting it pretty heavily here.
Yeah, I had never heard of it, and I get suggested a lot of documentaries and docuseries things, even from Hulu now, because I have Hulu TV. I ended up getting Hulu TV. I got it so I could watch the hockey games after Fubo TV no longer showed me the hockey games.
Oh, yes, okay.
Now there's no hockey, so I was planning on canceling it, but every time I go to cancel it, I find something else really cool to watch on it, so... But I did get an email the other day that because I'm a YouTube premium member, because I pay the $12.99 a month or whatever, that I can get 3 months free of YouTube TV. So I might have to do that.
That's interesting. I've been using the YouTube Music.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah.
It's okay. Nothing's as good as Spotify.
Right. I want the reaction that you get. Like you're gonna have to tell me your reaction when they play the intro.
Okay.
Because the intro, every time I watch it, I'm like, are we in the 90s? What is this? But then the show is, and that almost turned me off, like right away. It was like the intro to the show. I'm like, well, who made this intro? And then the rest of it's great.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. Everything's Northern California. It's like PCH up to Big Sur and the Redwoods and the Golden Gate Bridge, which that's the most beautiful part of California. You've been in Los Angeles, you know.
Right. And now it's time to order some enchiladas.
Oh, yes. All right. That'll do it for this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. Listen to us every Wednesday on your favorite music app. Interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at CC Mouse Podcast. Rep our merch at ccmousepodcast.shop. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys tomorrow live on youtube.com/CC Mouse Podcast.
Actually, by the time they listen to this, it'll be today.
Oh, it will, huh? Oh, yeah. My gosh. The future. I love you, the future. So we see you guys next week. Same mouse time, same mouse podcast. Bye.
Bye. Yay, we did a thing. Now we get to eat tacos.
Yes.